and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Daniel, you got a story for the people. What is going on?
Yeah. So this is an interesting story. So we're dealing with record high gas prices, and that's due to like 1,000 different things, but mostly corporations going, hey, we could increase gas prices and no one will blame us, which is most of the reason anyway. But something did happen. I know like the UK is like, do we go with 1984? Do we not? We're really trying to figure ourselves out. They're in that period right now, so we'll see what happens. But what they have proposed is a 25% tax on oil production, which would net them. By the way, you know how like in Congress they're like, oh man, we have this really good idea. It's going to net $45 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a proposal that'll net, I think, $2 to $3 billion a year, and Fox News is not happy. Let's look at British expat himself talk about this.
Brits, as in the British, sound just like Bernie Sanders. They're going to tax oil companies because of their so-called excessive profits, and they're going to redistribute the money to voters. How exactly is that going to work?
It's not a done deal yet.
You know how it's going to work, my friend? They're going to tax the oil companies and then redistribute it to everyone else. You already explained the process. Congratulations. Someone give this guy a can of SpaghettiOs.
It's a 25% additional tax. So the oil giants in the North Sea would be taxed at 65%. And some people say, well, that's too low. Norway, it's almost 80%. Anyway, this would bring in $5 to $6 billion a year through 2025. But in a sense, the lawmakers are talking out of both sides of their mouth because they're also giving relief, tax incentives for more drilling in certain.
I think this is also really funny because that's not really speaking out of both sides of your mouth. That's trying to increase your investment. That's going, what you say, $5 or $6 billion a year, which is, again, my point still is that's more than any time we try and raise revenue in the U.S. And the U.K. is not as big as us. They're much smaller, a little tiny country, a little island, you might say, that wants to act like it's in the middle of the North Atlantic.
Areas. So the point is, how does this then give consumers relief at the gas pump?
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's all gimmicks.
It doesn't. It's a gimmick. From Boris Johnson, of all people. It's supposed to be a conservative. Yeah. Thanks, Lauren. Brits, as in the British, sound just like...
Let's take everything a step back, right? First of all, big oil, they're gaining these huge profits right now in order to make up for the amount of profit they lost in the 2020 lockdowns. Okay? Now, before anyone says, oh, this inflation was started by Trump or Biden's making it worse, this was happening even before Trump. This inflation was already on its road thanks to the failure of the Obama-Biden administration for not doing anything about the 2008 economic recession. Everything has built up to this point in time. Daniel, you were going to say something.
I was just going to say that I think retroactively, the next time we have a pandemic or something of that nature that just tanks gas prices, buy a big container and fill it up.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? Like at the back of those trucks, so they have those giant, like,
yeah.
Get 4 of those, buy 4 of those, fill it up, sell the gas to your neighbors.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, at this point, look, Fox News, like any other corporate media outlet, will defend the top 1%. Big oil has investment in corporate media as well as a two-party system. So, of course, right now they want to scare people and saying, oh, no, people are acting like Bernie Sanders, even though Bernie Sanders is a cut and nutless wonder. So there you go.
But you're acting like Bernie Sanders as in speaking a big game and doing nothing. It sounds like they're thinking about doing something.
Yes.
I also just want to throw out there like how worried Fox News is about how Britain's acting. And I love that they threw that then. They're like 25%. Some think it's low compared to the Scandinavian countries at like 80% or something like that. And by the way, I just want to remember, Fox News is also speaking out of both sides of their mouth. Because isn't this the same Fox News that previously, when talking about the socioeconomic status and the time off and all that stuff that they have in Norway and in Scandinavian countries, don't they always go wave it off and say, oh, they're just using their taxes from their energy surplus to pay for that? And now when Britain's doing it, they're like, we don't understand how this could possibly be for the betterment of Britain if they do this thing that we complain about that the Scandinavian countries do. Anyway.
We'll leave it to Fox News and corporate media as a whole. CNN, MSNBC, they're guilty of it too, to make the idea of working 4 days a week or having 6 months or to a year off maternity leave or UBI or Medicare for all seem like a bad thing. See, the rest of the world has figured it out.
But you're not going to say? I guess it would take a company that most of its history being owned by the Australians and the Saudis to make a message like that.
Yeah, see the thing. Oh, that's what people don't know about Fox News. Here, sit down. Here, can we get the camera on me for a second? Hey, to loyal Fox News viewers, look. Your network is owned by an Australian and also funded by the Saudi Arabian government. It's not American, but boy, oh boy, does it like to feed you the propaganda. Anyways, let's get the widescreen back onto us again. There you go. So, poor old Varney, he's upset. What's the oil? I say, wait, here's my impression. I say, chip, chip, cheerio. What's going to happen to the oil companies? I just say, God save the Queen, even though I'm in America. God save the Queen. I got to have my tea. I mean, come on. The oil companies are going to be fine. They're gaining huge amount of profit already and screwing us up the wazoo.
But you're telling me now it's like, look, at the end of the day, Britain's considering doing a small thing compared to other countries on this topic. And here's the other thing, Fox News. These oil companies are using British soil to do this extraction in British territory that they need authorization for anyway to utilize. So if Britain wants to tax you and make your margins smaller and tell you to expand and make volume bigger, that's not speaking out of both sides of your mouth. That's called business.
Daniel, laying down the facts. And I think that's a good note to end it on.